What is going on, you guys? My name is CodyT503 and this is Interesting Podcast. Coming to you guys on October 8th, 2023 for episode 74, where today we have another very, very special guest. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's get right into this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to bring to you guys referee Brad Lee.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Oh man, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for actually joining us here today. Like, maybe we can start with maybe you can introduce yourself to everybody and where, like, your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in pro wrestling. There you go.
Well, my name is Brad. Everyone in the Pacific Northwest knows me as referee Brad Lee. I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I moved to Oregon about 10 years ago, and I am the first referee graduate of Oregon Pro Wrestling School.
Damn, that is so cool. That is awesome. So, like, how does it feel to be like the first graduate of, like, the most, I guess not most known, but the pinnacle of Oregon pro wrestling? Like, that is awesome.
We had some shoes. We had to come out with a bang. So, like, we had to be the best of the best, because we were the first school. So if we came out and went to shows and we didn't do our job, or we like half-assed anything, we thought it was gonna be a bad look for a brand new school. So Coach Ricky and Coach Eddie and Coach Flex, they instilled, work hard. And if you're not working hard, if you think you're working hard, work harder. So we do that, and we live by that motto still. 2 years. A lot of us have now been in debut. I'm going into my third year. Some of the wrestlers are going into their second years now. And we still work hard, show up. Like last night, we had DOA. We were there at 12 o'clock to set up for a show at 7. We were at Sherry's eating dinner at midnight.
That's crazy. So, like, when did you actually, like, find OPWS?
All right, so we'll go back to that story. So it was 2000. I want to say 2015, maybe 2016. I went to a DOA show as a fan. I was just like, I was here. All my friends were back home. My dad's a huge wrestling fan, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find an indie show. So I started Googling, and I found DOA Pro Wrestling. So I went to the show. I want to say that was at the Comedy Club. Became a fan again, like diehard fan. Like, indie wrestling brought me back, and then I want to say it was 2018, right before COVID. I started doing more research, and I looked up and I found WCWC out of Salem. And they were, at the time, they were closed. They pretty much done for by that point. But I emailed them, not knowing that school was shut down. And then about a year went by, and I got a random email back from that email address saying that Ricky Gibson was opening Oregon Pro Wrestling School, and that they were going to have a Pacific referee curriculum class there, and that I should sign up and go. And the rest was history.
That is so interesting. So, like, one thing I wanted to ask you is, like, how different is referee training as compared to pro wrestling training? Because, like, there has to be some aspects, but there also has to be certain aspects in which you understand what they're doing. You know what I mean? So, like, can you walk us through that a little bit?
I trained just like the wrestlers did. I learned to take hip tosses, and I learned how to take a clothesline, and I learned how to take a power bomb. I went through the training just like they did. I did all of the sit-ups and the push-ups and the squats, just like they did. For the first year and a half, I trained. So we had a wrestling class that was
Mhm.
pure just referees. And it wasn't even at the time, I was the only ref like that was there. Amira was one of the students that was there. She came and helped, was like my there to me, so I had somebody to work with at the beginning. But in the beginning, it was all strength and conditioning in ref class. It was like sitting down and understanding like how many different types of matches there are. Many different rules to wrestling based on where you are. If you're in, Japan, it's a 20 count. If you're in America, some places it's a 10, some places it's 20. If you're in AEW, you got no tag rules, kind of, it seems like, or a 10 count. Where in WWE tag rules, you got a 5 count. So it just really, there's so many different rules. So the beginning first year probably was a lot of learning all of the rules, how to express the rules, so that my job as a ref not only is the third person in the ring, but I'm teaching the fans the rules of the match. So
Yeah.
when the heel is cheating in the corners and I'm screaming at them and going on, throwing my hands on my throat, yelling off the throat, I'm telling you that the rules are you can't choke somebody. So it teaches. So that's my main thing, is teaching the kids and the people that have never been to a show what the rules are. So when they're sitting there, oh, that must not be allowed. That ref is freaking out about that. And then, so it was a lot of that. And then it was training to be a wrestler, because I needed to know how to do the moves safely, so that when they were done not safe, I would know that I could tell that, and then I could go into the next role of protecting the workers, the wrestlers wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely have to get into that a little bit later. I definitely have some questions for you on that. So like, when was your first time actually performing as a referee, being a graduate from Oregon Pro Wrestling School?
So my actual first show, I was not a graduate yet. SOS Pro Wrestling up in Tacoma was in Seattle at the time. It was their very first show that they had. Ricky had messaged me asking if I would go up there and help. Okay, yeah. So I hopped in my car and I took off and I drove to Seattle. And Coach Flex was there, so I refereed Coach Flex's match. So it was nerve-wracking, but I was with my coach, so it was with somebody that I've been working with for a year. So I was a little more comfortable versus just being out there. But I was probably just a few months in when that happened. And then I just kind of did that one show, but then I didn't do any more shows, because that was just a one-time kind of, hey, we're going to send you up there to help, but I'm not giving you the green light to take bookings yet. And then fast forward probably 7 months late goes by, and I get booked at 5. I get the green light and I go to 5cc. So then 5cc was my debut, very first show as allowed to be booked referee. And then now I've worked for 32 promotions in 22 states.
Really? Dude, that's crazy. 22 states?
All over.
Oh man, that's insane.
I'll be in Utah next week, so it's literally travel.
That is so crazy. So like, where was the most, I guess, like the best state that like you've been through where you feel like you were actually able to represent yourself as a referee to maybe a crowd in which you didn't really know?
So I do a show with the Midget Wrestling Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And we travel the world. Like they got booking opportunities that we're going to be going to UK, and they got opportunities in Canada and all kinds of stuff. And we travel all over the place. So there was like, that's when I realized like, hey, this is what it's like to be a WWE or an AEW wrestler, because like I'm on the road, I'm stuck in the airports, and I'm traveling rental cars, staying in hotels.
Mm-hmm. That is so crazy. So it's like, was there ever like maybe like a delay in like a flight that you mostly remember whenever it comes to traveling?
There was a hell of a drive coming back from Detroit. It was like 3-4 months ago. I'm stuck I'm in Detroit. I go to the airport. My flight is I'm supposed to be there at 5 a.m. for a plane that leaves at like 5:45. So I'm there right when TSA opens. I'm checked in. I go to the terminal. There's not a soul at the terminal. Not even a worker, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm looking to my left, and I look to my right, and there's nobody in this whole airport. And I finally find somebody. Oh, we're sorry, you didn't get the notification. All flights have been canceled for the next 2 days. So I had already checked out of my hotel. I am now an hour away from where the hotel was. All of the other people that were on the show and the promoter were already on their driving back to New York to go home. So I stayed in the airport terminal for 72 hours before I got on a plane to fly home.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. And that's when you were in New York City?
I was in Detroit.
Oh, Detroit.
The airport I was in was like the smallest airport I've ever seen. And that was the biggest nightmare I've had traveling.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like I've never been to Detroit. And so like when you're actually going and like traveling and whatnot, just like I had recently like brought up, like not really knowing exactly how like fans are gonna interact. Like, what was one experience that you mostly remember when it comes to traveling and actually having fans that interact with you and actually understand exactly what you're trying to do in the ring?
At DOA. DOA is the one place, and like I don't understand it, where I am like loved. I appreciate it. So like when I have the cheers and I see the fans out there with signs saying that I'm their favorite ref, or like, I love it. I cherish it. It's something that I hold deep. Like I'll forever hold on to it. But like there's some places, like when I go to Defy, I'm like booed out of the building. So I don't know. I just do my job. But I love it all. If they're booing me, that means I'm doing something that they like, or if they're cheering, they're happy, and that means they're paying attention and they're invested. If I have the entire facility room booing me, then they're invested into hating me, and let's go. Well, run with it.
Yeah. It's almost like RVD versus John Cena at a ECW One Night Stand 2006. Like as soon as you walk in, you're instantly hated.
Yep.
Oh man, that is awesome. So it's like, how is it for you to like try, like, okay, just like let's get into Charles Robinson. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna ask you, like how does it feel for you to be a referee, and then there's like these lines of just the absolute best that like we've ever seen. So it's like, how does it feel for you to be in the ring and then almost be a representation of what they're kind of doing? Like, can you walk us through that a little bit?
Man, it's the same feeling like when I've done a show in front of 10 people and when I did a show in front of 7,000 people. It was the same. It's the same feeling. Like, no, because I love the sport of professional wrestling. So being involved in it is like a childhood dream. Being able to have something that my father is like super into. So like me being a professional wrestling referee, no matter if it's on the indies or if I signed with the big company, to my dad, it's like I'm a celebrity. I get the coolest thing in the world. And all of his friends have my t-shirts, and I see all these people with my shirts on. Like, that's it. That's all that matters. I'm happy. But like for me, like to work like Charles, I just study him, and like I've studied him for 15 plus years of watching him, because I've always, like, when I got into the business, I wanted to be a referee. So like I have no desire to wrestle. I just want to be the best referee I can be.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question. So so Buddy Ruth is like, is he like the main trainer as far as referees go?
No, so Buddy is one of my mentors.
Okay.
And so with Benjamin Roberts, both of those refs came through WCWC, the school that I originally tried to go to, but they were closed down. But so they're the ones that kind of help give me a little more feedback on, like, in the beginning, like when I was really studying and like doing things wrong or in the wrong place. They were the ones kind of coaching me. But we don't actually per se have a referee coach. It's at Oregon Pro, it's Ricky and Eddie teaching kids how to wrestle. And then I'm there as a ref in the ring. And like in the beginning, they kind of tell me, hey, you need to be over here. Hey, you should do this. And now it's me just there. And then I kind of mentor Fidel, who just kind of got his debut here at DOA just a little while ago, is the one that I've kind of mentored a little bit. And kind of, we all kind of help each other in a group.
Yeah. So like what was one aspect that maybe you taught him that really just resonated as far as like what is expected from a referee?
My biggest thing is the perception. How do we look? Is our, does our clothes fit nice? Is our shirt tucked in? Do we have, like, for me, I have tattoos. So every show you see, I have long sleeves on. Making sure that we're cleaned up. I've been letting the beard go a little more. WWE is allowing refs to have a beard. So if the WWE has been the focal point. So the way that I go about it is dress for the job that you want.
Yeah.
I want to work for WWE. I know that that's probably never going to happen, being that I'm 5'11" and I have tattoos and body piercings. If you look at every ref on WWE, they are clean cut, no tattoos, no body piercings, and they're short. So like learning my place. So like that's where I want to go, but I still monitor and I still base my career off of how they're doing things, because they are the best of the best. So I just try to copy what they're doing. So if Charles Robinson's doing something one way, I'm going to try to copy how he's doing it, because he's been doing it since I watched wrestling since 94. 95, and he's been in the business since I've like grown up watching him. So if he's doing it, then he's doing it because it's the way it should be done. So that's just how I try to mimic it. And that's how I push and try to help people just follow Charles.
Yeah. Charles Robinson is like one of the greatest of all time when it comes to referees. And then if you look at like AEW, like Aubrey Edwards is up there, and is probably from the same scenario of the wrestling company in Salem.
Yeah, Aubrey's another one. She's a PNW, so she came up from the same roots that I'm coming up from here. One that I wish that got more spots over there is Mike Posey. Phenomenal ref, but you don't get to see a lot of them at AEW.
Interesting. Yeah. Is it kind of cool to like see where Aubrey Edwards is now, and then to kind of think that like you don't ever really know who's sitting in the crowd watching you. So it's like there can be a spectator for a major promotion. It's like you never know who is actually watching you referee.
Yeah, you don't. That's why I try to give 110% every single show, and I try to be the most, professional always, because you never know who's there. I've worked for some of the same, like if you go just to Aubrey Edwards, you look at, she worked for Without a Cause, she worked for 5cc, she worked at DOA, she worked at Prestige and Defy, and then she got AEW. And then if you look at like me and Devin and Buddy and Rob, we did the exact same thing. So we're working those places, and it's just like, just keep following that path, because it could happen and it could not happen. But like, you never know, because like you said, you don't know. There was a show I did, and I had no idea Gabe Skopolsky was in the crowd. One of the biggest scouts for WWE.
Oh, really? That's crazy. Yeah, I don't really recognize that name, but like when you say like a scout for WWE, that's crazy.
That man gets, I did a seminar with him. That's another fun one, is like doing seminars, like learning, being able to learn from some of the greats. And then as a ref, sometimes it's hard because like in a seminar situation, they're teaching wrestling and wrestlers. So like, I just try to grasp what I can to pick up. And a lot of times I'll pick up something that they will say, and then all of a sudden I'll hear something and I'll be like, hey, I was paying attention to, so-and-so, and they said this during the seminar. And then it clicks to that wrestler. So that's what I try to do now.
Yeah. That is crazy. So it's like, what was the most recent seminar that like you had gone through? And like, not to like expose anything or anything, but it's like, what is it like?
The last seminar that I took, like fully took, would have been, I'm trying to think here. It's been a while since I've taken it. I want to say Alex Shelley was like the last big seminar that I sat through, as like trying to learn as much as I could as a wrestler too, on top of it. Now, with some of the roles that I have on some of these promotions, I'm busy doing other things during these times that seminars and training classes are happening. So I'm not doing them as often.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I noticed that like earlier you had said about like having fans. So like how does it feel for you like as a referee to have fans? Like that has to bring you like a certain energy. So like can you explain that to us?
It's something that it's hard to explain, because like as a wrestler, they come out that tunnel, they got their entrance music, they got Titantron video packages, and they got smoke and fireworks, and they got all these things. And the ref's usually just standing in the ring already. So like, we don't have an entrance. So like Stevie, she started introducing the refs more often. And that just kind of helped get our names out there. And then like people kept asking me, hey, do you have t-shirts? And do you have t-shirts? And I was like, no. And then finally I did it. And now it's like, that's just the thing. But yeah, having fans is something that I never thought would happen, but it happened. And the ones that buy things for me and that support me, and like all my merch sales, all that money goes to paying for flights to get me to the next place. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get rich off of it. I'm just trying to help pay for the gas to drive to the next city. But I cherish the ones that I have and the moments that I've created. If it's, for instance, last month we had a show at Relentless in Spokane. Effie was wrestling Drexel in a hardcore match, which is my specialty. If everybody watches hardcore, anything hardcore in the PNW, that is my specialty. So we're in a match. I've seen spots happen so many times where we're diving out and then there's fans right there. Well, the spot was set up to where there was a little child right there. So, and wrestling happens so fast. I can't get that family to get up and get that child out of the way fast enough. So I can crawl on top of the child to protect the child and get kicked in the back of the head from Effie's heel, where it would have connected right into that little kid's face. So like after that little kid was like, gave me a hug and his parents thanked me. And then they went over and bought t-shirts from me. And then that parents posted on Facebook how their kid went to school wearing my shirt. And like, I'm his favorite person from that show now. And it's just those little moments that I'll cherish. And like, those are great. And like, I love it.
That is so cool. So like, what was the most energetic crowd that you actually got to like referee for, as far as like a match? Like who, like two wrestlers coming together, what was the most energy you've ever felt when you saw those two wrestlers coming together?
The most energy, like anytime I'm in a ring with Funny Bone, he draws so much energy into that crowd. And when you're standing there and everyone's smacking the canvas all the way around the ring and that vibration, it's the most unrealistic feeling I've ever felt in my life. Other than that, I would say it was going to be the Danger Aaron Drexel death match at Prestige.
That is so awesome. So like, here's a really good question. And like going along with that match is like, when you saw I guess like the spider web barbed wired ring, like little trampoline.
Yep.
Yeah. So like what were you thinking as like you saw that, or they introduced it and was like, huh?
I build all of the weapons for wrestling in the PNW. So I built that was something that came out. They came up for it, and then I spent 5.5 hours sitting on the floor building that.
That is so crazy. So it's like, okay, so like extending on that, like how does it feel to present that and be like, this is what I've come up with, now let's see what you guys can do with it?
That's great. Like when I come up with things and then I bring it out in the crowd, like I'm gonna cuss here on the thing. When the kids come out and they're chanting "Holy shit" off the bat, just from seeing something that came out of my brain, I love it. I love it.
Oh man. Well, here's a really like fun question. So you know how there are certain points in pro wrestling where they'll kind of have like the ring like explode, and then you'll see like the referee like drop down and whatnot. Like what would that kind of experience be like from your perspective?
I don't know. I want it. I want to do it. I have been pushing for an exploding barbed wire match. I want to get into it, but I don't know. I don't think Oregon is going to allow for explosions of C4 inside of a building with people fighting away. But I want it. I want to try. I want to know what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that like maybe like baseball would be able to do that if they actually like set it out in like a decent outdoor capacity?
At Powell, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The Prestige would be the one that I would say if it was gonna happen, it would be a Prestige show.
Yeah.
But
Ooh.
Powell's one that I think could happen.
Yeah. So here's like it's just kind of just like throwing it out there, just kind of just thinking is like so you know how Providence Park announced that they would actually start to have concerts again. Like, could you imagine if we actually had a pro wrestling show, whether it be Prestige or whatnot, at Providence Park and just pack it?
I would love it. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
I think we could do it. I think we could pack it. I've seen what we did for AEW here in the Moda Center, or the Memorial Center next door to it. We packed that place.
Yeah.
That was full. Like, there's enough wrestling fans here. I think we could do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why like I've always wondered like how come Oregon hasn't bid for like a SummerSlam or something. You know what I mean? Just because like everything that comes with it. Like we have obviously enough fans here in Oregon, but then also up in Washington. So if they were to host like a SummerSlam here, like, oh dude, people would come.
I think the reason why Oregon, and it's why Oregon's a small market in sports, we don't have, like, if we put WrestleMania in Portland, we don't have the hotel structure to fit that kind of people in downtown.
Yeah.
Like the All-Star game would be a nightmare here.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have the structure to fit that. So like to do a pay-per-view that's going to have 30, 40,000 people coming in from out of town could be really hard. I mean, Portland could probably pull it off, but people would be staying out an hour away trying to get a hotels.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason why I think it hasn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so interesting. Like I've never really thought about the hotel capacity, at least. You know, I was just thinking about population as far as Oregon and Washington, but that is so interesting.
Yeah, it's like things I think about, like, for instance, WCW never came to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because back in the day, we had a commission that made it really difficult. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know it, for a long time, women's wrestling was illegal in Oregon.
What?
Yeah, look it up. It was illegal for women to wrestle, be in professional wrestling in the state of Oregon. So when women's wrestling, it had to be like an expedition, and they weren't even able to like do it. So like for a long time, women's wrestling just wasn't a thing in Oregon. There was a show, I want to say it was 3 or 4, maybe even 5 DOAs ago. An older lady came to DOA with the Willamette Weekly, which, I mean, you might be able to find the story on the Willamette's page, where she talked about being from Portland and wrestling in like the 40s. And like she had to leave Oregon to have a career because she couldn't wrestle here.
That's crazy. That is so. Oh man, like you're gonna have to maybe send me another link about like where I can actually like look into that, because that's.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I heard about it, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Professional wrestling? What's a weird world we had going in, back in the day, and it still is today. But that's something to me. I'm like, we're not gonna let women wrestle?
Yeah. That is crazy. So let's talk about Rosalind 6. So you were the referee for the TLC match, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like when you're going throughout those matches, and just like you had brought up earlier, like you having to kind of understand the risk that every wrestler goes through. So it's like, how is it standing in that ring, knowing the stipulation that they have, and knowing the risk that they have to take in order to actually pull that match off?
It's scary, especially when it's people that you care about. Like, that was my coaches in that ring. Seeing them put their bodies, potentially could end their career for the enjoyment of the fans. That's something that's mine. It's amazing. It's so like I was more the whole time, anything matches like that, I'm more focused on safety. So like, okay, they're climbing a ladder. Oh, there's a chair right here that shouldn't be there. Let's get that the hell out of here. Because that right there could be the situation ending. Because oh, that chair's not right. Oh, that's in the wrong spot. That's dangerous. Oh, there's a piece of metal poking straight up and they're about to fall down. Move that. Because as much as we want violence and as much as we want blood and as much as we like the hardcore, we don't want to see somebody die.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you is like whenever there's blood in the ring, it's like referees will have to sit there and like put their gloves on. Yep. So it's like, how is it being in that situation where the reason why the gloves put like the referees put the gloves on is because of the fact that there is that danger of interacting with people's blood and all of that. Yeah, so it's like, how is it like having to like put on the gloves and then still having to coordinate with everybody, knowing how much they're bleeding or what they've been through? Like,
you seen that Roseland man that we're talking about? Like, there was literally times where I pulled people aside and like sent people away to go, hey, go get this, go stay and hold this, putting a towel on this guy because he's bleeding really bad. It happens. So like, yeah, you just kind of go with it. If it's bad, I'm gonna stop the match. Like, as much as I don't want to end something, that's my job. So like, if they're hurt and they can't go, my job is to stop them so that they don't hurt themselves further.
Yeah. Well, here's a really interesting question just based off of like what you were just saying is like if you look on YouTube, there's certain matches in which it becomes almost a shoot fight, right? Like people will actually start fighting like full on. You know what I mean? And it's like what would you do if a shoot fight were to actually occur when you were in the ring? Like, how do you actually gauge or really get control of that kind of situation?
Luckily for me, that's never happened, and I've never had to deal with that situation. But I mean, first thing what I would do, and this is just thinking because I can think about it, I would stop the match, and I'm gonna get security in the ring, and we are gonna pull these two apart for real, and we are gonna make sure that they do not get to each other again, and then we are gonna separate them, and then let management handle it from there. And if they keep fighting, then you got to get the law enforcement involved, and that's a whole nother ordeal. But I would just separate them, keep them separated, and then let management, whoever runs the show, let them deal with it from there.
Yeah. So it's like, have you ever seen somebody receive a receipt when actually refereeing?
Oh yeah.
I'm even ready for that.
Refs, we get receipts too. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
We mess up, we're gonna get it. And they're like, okay, hey, there's a ref bump. Hey, you remember when you blah 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 blah? Yeah, all right, I'll eat that chair. Most of the time, like, ref receipts happen in training. I get that's what all my friends are like, hey, you know what? You were out of place. There's a back chop. Ow.
Oh man, nearly like knock you down on the floor.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, it's like, what were some like first-hand accounts that you've had about mishaps?
Let's see if I can find. I think of a good one. I can't think of like a one where it was like, hey, this guy. It was mostly like somebody threw a forearm and they connected really hard and like maybe got the jaw a little bit. So the other guy's like, okay, I'm gonna throw one back just a little bit harder than I normally do, and then connect back, and that's usually what it is. I've never seen it get to like extreme, unless you're getting into like death match wrestling and some of these death match companies that I've been at. Then it's, I don't even. It to me sometimes I'm like, I don't know if this is real or if this is part of the show anymore.
Oh man. So like when you're sitting there talking about like deathmatch wrestling, like what is the most craziest thing that you've seen a wrestler put themselves through?
I watched a guy take a syringe and put it in his
What?
Yeah. Take a needle and shove it up there.
Oh my gosh, I literally don't even know what to say to that. What?
By being there, I don't know what to say to that. I'm just sitting there like everyone in the show sees me do these expressions in my face. I'm sitting in this back room like this, frozen. Like I'm literally shocked. Like, and I'm like, I've seen it all. I've seen people fly from outside. This guy just took syringes and put them in his penis. Like, why? Like that was.
Oh, man. Yeah, like there's nothing that you could actually see after that that would actually like blow your mind.
It's gonna be hard, and if something goes further than that in wrestling, I think I'm in the wrong spot. I think I need to go back because now you're getting like we're moving into like fetish scenes here now, like where we're gonna be having pain Olympics and things going on. I don't want that. Like I want to go back to watching people have fun.
Yeah, that is so funny. Well, that's kind of like a mishap in a sense, but I wanted to talk to you about DOA Schools Out because I know you were in that referee match and Zay had kind of gone over the top rope and he hit his knee. So it's like when you heard him yell out like he did, what was running through your mind as soon as you kind of felt that somebody was hurt?
Oh, then it's like, okay, let's get to him. What can I do? What do I need to do to fix? Like, is it bad? Like, do I need to stop this? Like we had to get him to the back. Like he could not compete. And it was, weeks, like him with eyes, like checking on him every day. Like, hey, how's your knee? How's your knee? Blah, 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 blah. We just got to keep checking on him. But like, sometimes it happens. Like there's been a few matches where I did a luchador match. And they did a corkscrew triple backflip off the top rope to the outside. And when he came down, his knee buckled and snapped. Like he was done. Like he tore his ACL and LCL. He was done. And I had to stop the match and like get him to the back. And like at that show, there were 7,000 people around the ring. There was nowhere. I couldn't go anywhere. I just had to pick him up and carry him to the back and then set him down because we couldn't get to him.
So like going from that experience, how did it feel when you were actually like dealing with that situation and everything?
Dealing it with Zay, it was scary because like he's one of my best friends. Like we trained together. We started in this business together. the Flaming Aces, Amira, Dove and Dangerous. There's a whole list of these names of students that I started with that I have like grown relationships with. Like if they get hurt, it's gonna be bad. Like I'm gonna feel bad for them. So like just knowing that, it's why we try to protect each other as much as possible. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Zay got hurt a couple times. Like he broke his elbow at POW taking a drop kick to the apron and broke his elbow. Like that was pretty bad and nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so interesting. So here's a question for you. So like I know I had asked you like the other day, like, do you believe that referees are like just as important as the performers? Because and like before you answer, like I believe that they are, because like you're an intricate part to the match. So if you could explain maybe your perspective.
Yeah, actually, so there's always 3 people in a wrestling match. You can't have a wrestling match without the referee.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise it's just a fight.
Yeah.
We're the people that hold the rules together. We're what keeps the legitimate into the ring. So yeah, like no, we are adamantly important. Like Ricky and Eddie and them at the school at Oregon Pro, they made it a point to like, hey, the ref is involved. Like he's there. Utilize him for the knowledge that they have, and they can, work with them. Because we're part of the show just like everybody else. So the wrestlers are putting on the performance. We're just that third party that's there helping put the final piece to the puzzle. Because it goes down from, you got the wrestlers, you got the ring announcers, you got the security guards, you got the referees, you got, your managers. All of these people play a key role in what gives everybody their escape from reality.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's something I wanted to bring up to you, and something that I found like pretty interesting when you look at referees spectrum. So you know how there will be those certain referees where if somebody's in a predicament in which their shoulders are on the ground, like any movement, whether it be a submission or anything, they'll almost go up and like touch underneath the person's shoulders just to see if the shoulders are down, so that then they can start to pin them. But I've noticed that only certain referees bring that aspect to professional wrestling. So it's like, are like those kind of aspects something that you really look forward?
Yeah, I like to do it because it's just adding to. For me, my thought is, if you guys are wrestling and you guys are rolling around and I'm just standing there, what am I doing? You could be getting pinned and like I'm just there. But if I'm checking and I'm moving, I'm constantly keeping it going, and then we can see what's going on, and it tells the story of, hey, they're not pinned. Oh, they're rolling. Oh, they're moving. Oh, here's a pin. I like to slide the hand in and check. I don't do it as often as I should, but I should probably start doing it more than I do.
No. Oh man. So like I know earlier you had brought up about you being one of the first referees to graduate from Oregon Pro Wrestling School. So how does it feel for you every time that you're performing to be a representation of Oregon Pro Wrestling School?
It's strong. To me, it's an honor. It's a privilege. And I cherish it. So I take it as, no matter what happens, I am an Oregon Pro student. So if I go to a show, or if I go and I'm out in the public and I'm a jackass to people, that looks bad at the school. That makes my coach look bad. Even though it's not their thing, I could just be an asshole, and that's just how it is. But I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize or hurt anybody else that's in my group of and like my Oregon Pro, that's my family. Like all those people are my family. Like I'll do it. I'd go right now. If one of them called and said, hey, they needed help, I would end this podcast to go help them because that's my family. And like I would do whatever I needed to for them. We've all bled, we've all sweat, we've all cried, we've all laughed together. You know, we've all been through many things together that most people won't ever know about because it's just, you know, it's just like you with your friends. But like, no, I take that Oregon Pro graduate very seriously and honored to be an Oregon Pro graduate.
That is so awesome, man. Well, before we actually end up closing everything out, I just want to ask you, like, what does professional wrestling like mean to you?
Professional, going back, like childhood, growing up, going to WCW, like wrestling has always been my escape from reality because I could watch a show on TV growing up, watching the, you know, the Four Horsemen and stuff. I was able to, even as a kid, I could take away the spelling bee homework that I was struggling or these math equations that weren't working for me. And I could go watch Monday Night Nitro. And that gave me 2 hours to forget about what was going on and enjoy something. And wrestling has always been that one thing that no matter what has been there to help me. Like when I was sick or when I was hurt, there's wrestling I could watch. So wrestling has always been my escape. So, and that now that I'm in the business and I'm able to partake and do what I grew up watching, I have the best job in the world.
Well, that is so fucking awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you so much for actually joining us here today and just letting us know who referee Bradley is.
I appreciate it. I love it and it's fun. Like I said, I don't go on many podcasts, so it's been a lot of fun. And anybody that wants to follow me, you know, go to all my social medias, referee Bradley. If you want to buy a t-shirt to help support me going to the next city, you can go to Brainbuster Tees, What a Maneuver, Pro Wrestling Tees. They got all kinds of good ones. I'm actually going to be dropping a Deathmatch Zebra shirt here once we get off this show tonight.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Well, I cannot wait to see you when you actually return to Independence, and I hope you have a very, very good night.
Yes, we'll get a picture together, and I will see you in Independence on Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye. Well, all right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with referee Bradley. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, later on tonight, 7 p.m. PST, Interesting Podcast is going to be interviewing Max Burnside. This is going to be another interview you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys ring that notification bell so you guys get notified when I go live. I'll catch you guys later.